We're so delighted to welcome you to the Asia Pacific Women in Leadership Third Cohort graduation ceremony. I hope all of you are doing well. So we're admitting everyone in.
It's so good to see many of
Yes.
you. We know each other.
Yeah, please introduce yourself in the chat box. So we have arranged an exciting program for you today. It will be about 90 minutes. After the introduction, we will have some celebratory remarks by Professor Dawn Freshwater, myself, as well as Prof. Joanna, and both of us are the co-chairs for the APWiL program. After that, we will also be hearing some sharings from our cohort speakers. We have Dr. Kuriko, Kudo from Kyushu University. We have Dr. Kim Barret from University of California, Davis. Another pair of mentee and mentor are Dr. Nicole Vargas from Australian National University. And we also have Dr. Suzi Hong, University of California, San Diego. After that, we'll have a graduation video and recognition of participants. So that will be given by Professor Joanna, and then we will have some closing remarks. So I'm Yvonne. I'm one of the co-chair together with Joanna for this APWiL program, and we're very delighted to be here today. So we'll move on to the celebratory remarks. I'm excited to introduce to you Professor Dawn Freshwater, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Auckland and our APWiL Presidential Champion, to offer her celebratory remarks. Now, she's a globally recognized leader in world-class universities for more than a decade. Dawn Freshwater became the University of Auckland's first female Vice-Chancellor in March 2020. After serving as the University of Western Australia's Vice-Chancellor and Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Registrar for 6 years. Now, since taking on the role of Vice-Chancellor at the University of Auckland, Professor Freshwater has led the development of the university's ambitious Vision 2030 and Strategic Plan 2025. Taumata Teti, which has an emphasis on sustainable ecosystems, just and cultured societies, health and well-being, and trusted ecology technology. So Professor Freshwater was the first female chair of the G8 Research Intensive Universities in Australia and is the chair of Universities New Zealand's Research Committee. Now she's the deputy chair and board director of Research Australia and a member of Chief Executive Women and Global Women New Zealand. So Professor Freshwater was recently appointed Vice Chair of the APRU Steering Committee for 2023-2024. And she's looking forward to hosting the annual President's Meeting in Auckland in June next year. So she has been a strong supporter of APWiL since the pilot program. And today we are very honored to have her serve as our APWiL Presidential Champion and also to give us her celebratory remarks. So without further ado, let's welcome Professor Freshwater.
Thanks, Yvonne. And let me start by saying Tēnā koutou katoa, which is greetings from over in the Pacific here, particularly from Tamaki Makaurau, which is Auckland, and from Aotearoa, New Zealand. And I'm very pleased to join you as the Vice-Chancellor of Waipapa Tuamataro, which is the University of Auckland, but actually here in my role also as Vice Chair of the Steering Committee of the Asia Pacific Women of Universities. So really pleased to have a chance to say hello and to see everybody from so many different places, which I'm looking at the list of participants. Now, when Yvonne said about words of wisdom, I might just start by saying, don't look to me for having the answer and the panacea to time management, because clearly I didn't have it right today, and it's one of the things that I still juggle. And I'll come to that in a moment, because lifelong learning and continued learning is, of course, something that has brought you here and which enables us to continue to be open and innovating and thinking differently about the support that we give to other people and the mentoring role that we play, which is always two-way. We learn as much as we give. So today is really an opportunity for me to celebrate the accomplishments of the third cohort of the Women in Leadership mentoring program. But I will just take a little time, as well as acknowledging the mentees and the mentors in this virtual room in which we're in. And of course, there are other mentors and past mentees and a number of people here in addition to that group, just to acknowledge all of you and to think about the work that you've contributed to supporting the careers, the development. And we talk here in this part of the world about manner, which is about the enhancing the gravitas, the respect of individuals through your mentoring and in the mentoring relationship. So one of the things for me about the Asia Pacific Women in Leadership work is a particularly fond recollection of mentoring and recognizing this program because it values the collaboration between the Pacific Rim countries. And actually, with everything that's happening globally, this is ever more important. You will all know from your experience that the role that we play as universities in soft diplomacy, the role that we play in opening doors, and the role that we play in almost laying out the red carpet for people to walk along in different countries and across different parts of the globe is critical. And so having an Asia Pacific Rim Women in Leadership program, I think, is not only really timely, it's actually really critical to our futures. I say that in the context of the Nobel Prize that was awarded yesterday in economics. And we're doing a significant piece of work in the gender pay gap here. But, you know, how important to recognize the work that was done through that labor market work, the gender pay gap, all the things that we've been talking about for many years, and to recognize that across this Asia Pacific Rim, we see people being recognized for such important work. And I say again, this particular Women in Leadership program offers cultural, professional insights that reach beyond the usual mentoring programs because of the nature of it being attached to the Asia Pacific Rim of universities. And that can only assist in offering alternative approaches to work, to careers, and to leadership. And of course, much more than that, but that's what we're about. So to the point of the day, we're celebrating the third program cohort, and that's significant because it showcases the value put on the program and the experience of the past mentees and mentors. You will know it's grown from initial 10 institutions taking part in the first year in 2020 to 28 institutions lining up, beating a path to the door to participate in the upcoming fourth cohort. So within 4 years, that's a really small timeline, and put into the context of the pandemic, this mentoring program is reaching 46% of the total number of the APRU member institutions. So across those 4 cohorts, it will actually reach more than 50% of the APRU universities. Congratulations to everybody involved in that. It's pleasing to know that the program is so popular across the network. And the third cohort has been particularly representative of East Asia, Southeast Asia, Greater China, North and Latin America, and Australia and New Zealand. Matching the mentor and the mentee, which is, as you will know, based on fields of research, regional diversity, professional life, mentor goals, mentee goals, is, I think, a really neat way of bringing people together. It's the foundation of a women in leadership relationship, after all, that takes, you know, in a minimum of 6 meetings, as we know, over the course of the year, but that's what takes hold. It's the foundation, it's the relationship across those matching characteristics which brings people together. And we've had great feedback. This goes back to the vice chancellors, it goes back to the presidents, and we've had great feedback. I think it's rewarding to learn, for me at least, that the Women in Leadership programme has been replicated within a university, and that graduates from the programme have adopted different approaches in their home university to spread the word. And that includes online symposia, student exchanges, international collaborations, winning awards, and their ambition to advance their research through alternative processes. This is as much about a diversity of thought as it is around actually the Women in Leadership programme, of course. So it's going to be quite exciting, I think, next year, because the APRU's Women in Leadership programme will have really its first most significant in-person meeting of the programme, which will be supported in part by some generous funding from Elsevier. And as the Vice President of APRU, Vice Chair, I'm going to host next year's annual President's meeting in Auckland in June. The day before the meeting starts, we are hosting a Women in Leadership workshop, and this is going to be on the 23rd of June next year. Now, we're developing the programme right now, and there'll be more details. But what I can tell you is that the theme of the annual President's meeting for the APRU is oceans. And why I thought oceans would be a really good theme is because the Asia-Pacific Rim of universities are connected and related through the ocean. And if we think about relationships and what connects us and what binds us, there's more in the fact that we have in common than which differentiates us. And that's a really important message for the current zeitgeist within which we're in. I'm really looking forward to us getting together and showcasing the Women in Leadership programme at that event, and what you've all achieved and the lives it's impacted, and how we continue to drive that agenda. And while the virtual experience is, of course, always useful, turning that into a face-to-face engagement, I'm expecting our ideas to really flourish, for our relationships to continue to build, and for us to really learn from each other on those sidebar conversations where we can really open up about the things that are challenging us and get solutions that we hadn't thought about from other people in the same room as us, and bring to fruition some of the ideas, the imagination that has been really at the heart of the Asia Pacific Women in Leadership work. So let me just finish, because I'm taking up too much time, and congratulate all of the mentees. You've completed a programme that will drive you forward in your lives, I've no doubt, and in the lives of the people around you. Mentors, you've committed your time and knowledge and your energy. Importantly, this is heart-to-heart work as well as head-to-head work. So each of you have committed to build something together for the future, and in the service of your universities, and in the service of all those communities that our university works for. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for being part of today's event. Congratulations again. Enjoy and celebrate what you've achieved. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thank you so much, Professor Freshwater. It was really inspiring and encouraging for all of us. And your presence here means a lot to us. Yeah, we have many of you celebrating here together with us, and we are so happy about it. You know, the presence of Professor Freshwater, it's so important to us because she's our presidential champion, and being in the steering committee and also the vice chair now, she plays an important role to bring forward this agenda in the many meetings that we have in APRU. So thank you so much once again, Professor Freshwater. I'd like to take a few minutes to celebrate this year's accomplished group of mentors and mentees. Now, first, I'd like to recognize the journey that we have been. And as we mentioned earlier, there's a group of 91 strong mentors and mentees here, and you're connected with your mentoring partner in a one-to-one mentoring. You've set your goals. You've completed.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Could you hear us? So we have completed the check-ins throughout the year. So I hope that you've really enjoyed this APWiL mentoring program. And we, the team that is the secretariat for the APWiL mentoring program, enjoyed thoroughly, reading your accomplishments, reading the milestones, reading the experiences that you have. Thank you so much for taking the time to really pen down your thoughts as well as your experiences. Now, you have participated in 4 virtual seminars and workshops covering topics such as addressing imposter syndrome, exploring intersectionality, and hearing stories and tips on communication and negotiation. And you were also connected to each other in multiple informal networking spaces. So that was some of the highlights of what we have gone through this year. And now we are celebrating you at this virtual graduation. As a former mentor myself, now yes, part of this experience, part of the first cohort, and even now I'm still in touch with my mentee. It has grown into a friendship that is strong, and we find that sort of strength and support knowing there's someone else in another university that is cheering us on. So thank you to the mentors who shared your time, your expertise, and care for your mentees. And I'd also like to thank the mentees who have invested so much, and you were so invested in your own learning, in your own growth. We thank you for taking the courage to do so, to open up with your mentors, and to take the courage to do something that perhaps for some of you that you've never done before. So congratulations to everyone, and I hope that you will continue deepening this connection. It is a start. It's the first few steps of 1,000 miles, and I hope you will expand the learning and the growth experiences that you have had to both the mentors and mentees. And as Professor Freshwater has mentioned, I encourage you to continue thinking of ways that you can work together towards the gender equity in our respective institutions, and that you will use this network to further that important work. Now, as what Professor Freshwater has mentioned, we will be having a face-to-face meeting. And we hope that, next year we'll be able to see some of you, or if not all, in that meeting, but more information will be shared with you as we firm up the program. So for now, I'd like to invite my fellow co-chair, Professor Joanna, to offer her own remarks. So Joanna, over to you.
Thank you, Yvonne, and thank you so much, Dawn, for really inspiring us. I just wanted to highlight one thing that you said, and it really resonated me, because we are working extremely hard, but this multiplicity of roles that we play in our lives on a daily basis is really what so often becomes invisible and not acknowledged. And I really truly appreciate that you did acknowledge this, not only critical, but how many different roles we do play. To mentors and mentees, congratulations again for completing this year's. And as you've heard already several times, we are so proud that you were able to join us and accomplish so much. And I just wanted to highlight few of those accomplishments, because I think observing from year to year, we see how things are changing and how the program is maturing and becoming deeper and deeper. So one mentee visited her mentor's university and conducted interviews with women in leadership about employability skills. And then these interviews are featured in an op-ed that they actually wrote together. In another case, a participating institution hosted a DEI symposium on diversity, equity, and inclusion with mentors and mentees from a number of other institutions. Yet another case where mentee was able actually to secure permanent employment and promotion, which is so important to so many of us. In another project, mentee started the restorative justice project in her department, and both conducting a restorative justice circle and then beginning to train other team members so they can engage and they can participate together. Other peers plan internship exchanges for students, and many mentees and have secured some grants and make progress on articles and other projects. Needless to say, these are wide-ranging but extremely important progress that our mentees, but I also know that our mentors were able to jointly to achieve. So this is a very small snapshot, because obviously 91 participants is a lot, but I think it's very clear to all of us that how important this program really is. And it is serving an important purpose, because it's sort of creating a space for mentees and mentors to share, to grow together, to support each other. So I hope that all of you take time outside this space, as well as celebrating what you're doing, but also you will be able to connect with others, share that space. And I just want to again echo what both Professor Freshwater and my dear co-chair Yvonne said, that this is wonderful that you are able to take time to participate in this program, because I know how busy we all are. So congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you for enriching all our lives, including my own. Thank you. And now I'll hand it back to Yvonne.
Thank you so much, Joanna. It's always nice to hear from you. And we have with us as well Professor Renetta Tull, and she is the first Vice Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion from UC Davis. I really like to invite her to give a few words. Prof. Renetta.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Professor Lim. And hello to everyone. Congratulations to all of you for your hard work and just being a part of this wonderful program. I have the wonderful opportunity to partner with Dr. Joanna Reguslka and the team at UC Davis. And I have just found this program to be incredibly enriching, and especially when you have an opportunity to connect with women internationally. I have mentors from Ecuador and from Turkey, and I really have appreciated that kind of relationship. And it's a win-win relationship. It's a win for the mentees who have a chance to learn from the mentors who see something extra and additional in them that they can impart, but it's also very rewarding for the mentors who have a chance to be part of the mentees' lives. And I just want to say congratulations to all of you. Good luck in all of your future endeavors. And it's really a pleasure to be here to celebrate you. Thank you so much.
And we want to thank you for the partnership, because the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion has been our partner for all these years, and we truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there you go. We have very strong supporters. And I think just knowing that there are so many people supporting us in understanding our issues and challenges. I think that itself gives us the strength to move on. And it's, for me, it's so refreshing, and it's re-energizing every year when we read sharings from different cohorts. So I really like to thank all of you, and congratulations once again. We have with us in this cohort 24 institutions, and that's a great platform for networking. So without further ado, we're going to go to the highlights of our program. Now, we'll be hearing from our featured speakers. We have 2 mentoring program pairs with us today who have worked together over the past 1 year. Now, they will share their highlights, the lessons learned, and plans for the future now that they are the alumni of the program. So we will welcome our first pair, and they are the mentee, Dr. Kuriko Kudo, and her mentor, Dr. Kim Barret. Dr. Kuriko Kudo is a lecturer who serves as the Vice Director and Chief Technical Officer of the Telemedicine Development Center of Asia at Kyushu University Hospital. Dr. Kudo received her PhD from the Graduate School of Design at Kyushu University for the topic 3D computer graphics for the digital archiving of traditional performing arts in 2011. And then she switched her career paths and entered the medical field. So as a technical director, Dr. Kudo is devoted to research on technological development and technician training programs in Asia. Now, recently, she embarked upon an endeavor developing a new educational program that is an amalgamation of a previous and current specialties, design and medical education. I thought that was really intriguing. So let's put our hands together and welcome Dr. Kuriko Kudo. Over to you.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Professor Yvonne. And it's a great honor for me to speak at APWiL graduation ceremony. So regarding number 1, the question, at first I talk about the highlight of the APWiL. Actually, this 1-year mentoring period was the hardest year of my research career. At the time of my first meeting with my mentor, Professor Kim, last November, I was in the worst possible situation, which was my employment may expire at the next March. There was a possibility that I might have to stop my research. When I talked to this matter with Professor Kim, I knew that she has actually been in a similar situation to mine. That is, she had continued to employ herself with her own funding without a permanent post. That was shocking to me because of her impressive career as an outstanding researcher, editor-in-chief of very high-level journal, and a professor and dean of the University Research Institute. So the highlight of the program for me was that I was able to overcome many difficult situations by the advice from Professor Kim's experience of breaking through. For example, I was able to become permanent and get promoted. I could get concurrent posts at other universities, and I could win 3 grants. Secondly, I talk about the most important lesson of the APWiL program. The biggest thing I learned from Professor Kim was to look at the opportunity from a broader perspective and take parallel approaches. For example, to look for positions at other fields, including abroad, applying for multiple funding at various levels, including small foundations, and to consider presenting at the conference in new fields. As a result, I was able to obtain a visiting researcher position at the different university to mine. This enabled me to continue my research even if my employment was temporarily stopped. As I mentioned earlier, I was able to obtain 3 grants because I looked for foundations and fields with a broad perspective. I was also able to attend conferences and submit 2 papers to journals in areas that were new to me. Professor Kim reviewed 2 papers and 1 research grant application and provided valuable feedback and very thoughtful corrections. I'm really grateful for her support. So finally, I talk about my support plan for others. I want to support more people to experience the benefits of listening to other people's opinions and broadening our perspectives as I experienced in this program. Last month, I took 4 graduate students to Bangladesh who had never been abroad before. I am confident that it will have big influence on their life. Finally, I would like to pass on the message to the mentees for the next year. Please make the most of this valuable opportunity. You could ask your mentor to review your paper or organize a seminar together. It is also a good opportunity to hear about the mentor's way of thinking and daily life. I was able to get an introduction to the new keynote speaker at an international conference I am planning to attend, since he was the same university of Professor Kim. We were able to do this because we kept in touch very well. Actually, we had monthly meetings, and so far we had 10 meetings. I would definitely suggest the future pair to keep in close contact each other. So again, this past year has been so hard for me with the support of many people around me, especially Professor Kim and the APWiL program. I think I was able to do my best. I would like to express my sincere gratitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kuriko Kudo. As I hear your sharing, I really feel very empowered. And, your sharing of resilience is so important. And the other take-home message that I got was the thinking out of the box that you have inspired us to do, that never to give up, no matter the kind of challenges that we are facing, not being afraid of the unknown, not being afraid of doing new things, exploring new things. And thank you so much for your message of empowering others, that you're using the hardships that you have gone through in trying to then motivate others. I think that's the power of what the APWiL program is all about, is to share and strengthen each other from the journey that we have. Thank you so much for your powerful message. And so as you have mentioned, you're very grateful to Professor Kim Barret, who was your mentor. And now I'd like to introduce her. So Dr. Barret is the Vice Dean of Research and Distinguished Professor of Physiology and Membrane Biology at the University of California, Davis School of Medicine, the position that she has held since 2021. She's a native of the United Kingdom and completed her doctoral training in University College London before coming to the United States for postdoctoral work at the National Institutes of Health. Now, in 1985, she was recruited to the University of California, San Diego, where she rose from the ranks in the Department of Medicine to attain the title of Distinguished Professor of Medicine. She also served as the Vice Chair of Research in the Department of Medicine and was the Dean of the Graduate Division for the campus as a whole from 2006 to 2016 for a decade. Now, immediately prior to joining UC Davis, she was also the rotating director of the Division of Graduate Education at the U.S. National Science Foundation in Alexandria. Her research has focused on the physiology and the pathophysiology of the gastrointestinal epithelium throughout her career, with findings that are applicable to the understanding and treatment of infectious diarrheal disorders and inflammatory bowel diseases. It's a very wonderful contribution, Prof. Kim, and I'm very delighted to hear the sharings that you're about to share with us. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak at this wonderful event, and my congratulations to all the mentees for their accomplishments in the program, and also to the mentors for your contributions. I really was inspired to join this program shortly after coming to UC Davis because of my career-long preoccupation with mentoring, and particularly mentoring people from groups underrepresented in the academy, including women and underrepresented minorities. And I will say that the program completely exceeded my expectations. I did begin the program with quite a sense of trepidation because while it was wonderful to meet Kuriko, I felt very ill-equipped to help her with her own research area because it's rather far from my own. I'm a bench scientist by training. I've spent time in administration, but my knowledge of design and telemedicine and tele-education in medicine was pretty limited, although those are areas in which we have great expertise at UC Davis. So at the beginning, I was asking myself if she had really been fairly matched. But one of the great pleasures and discoveries from talking to Kuriko was learning about her as a person and learning about her family, her culture. In every meeting, we made time to get to know each other as individuals, as well as the important business of mentoring. So that was a huge pleasure for me. I learned a lot about Japan, about her wonderful children, her husband, who is an artist and also a scholar. I got to see some of her husband's very creative digital art, heard about Japanese holidays and vacations for the children and her family in general. So that was very, very special for me. As Kuriko already mentioned, at the beginning of the program, she was in a challenging place professionally. And that was probably the important lesson that I learned about the program, which I have actually been trying to increasingly incorporate as a mentor for the last few years. And that is not being afraid to talk about our failures as well as our successes. I was able to share with Kuriko that at the beginning of my career, I was on an entirely soft money faculty position. Everything I was able to build was all my own grant funds. I paid 100% of my salary. I paid for the people in my lab. And it was only at the time that I was promoted to be a full professor that I finally got a little bit of hard money for my position. So I was able to share with her that I was able to, make it through that period, and that most likely she could too. And indeed, as you heard, she was very successful in doing that. I learned a lot about her research. I was able to read some of her manuscripts and her proposals, as you heard. And so that was very, very enlightening for me, the modern approaches to distance education, which is so critical to spread medical advances across the globe, and also at this time when we have had less opportunities to gather in person. What I will take away from the program is a very firm intent to encourage others to participate in programs such as this. And I love the international nature of this program. It is so truly unique. I will also take away what I hope will be a long-lasting and deepening friendship with Kuriko. I told her, once a mentor, always a mentor. That's what I say to everybody I've mentored throughout my career. And I look forward to hearing of her many successes as her career progresses and as she fulfills the goals that she set out in her mentoring contract. And we talked about her short-term and long-term plan, and I know she is on a very, very outstanding pathway to accomplishing all those things. So Kuriko, thanks for being such a wonderful partner in this program. It was absolutely wonderful to meet with you on a regular basis. I'm glad we decided to meet more regularly than the program asked for, because it really allowed us to get to know each other better. And I hope very much that at some point we will get to meet in person. Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kim. It's really nice to hear, Kuriko and Kim sharing their different perspectives. And as Dr. Kim was talking about failure, I remember this poem. It says that failure is not the end of the road, but beginning of a new journey. They are not the signs that they are signs of opportunities for success. And failures are not the flaws of our characters, but the lessons of our wisdom. They're not the enemies of our happiness, but the friends of our resilience. So thank you so much, for reminding us a great message to everybody. So now, besides Kim and Kuriko, we have also invited another pair. And for that, I will pass it over to Joanna to introduce them. Over to you, Joanna.
Hello again. This is such an inspiring moments to listen to these fabulous stories of both of Professor Kuriko and Kudo and Professor Kim Barret. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think I saw in the chat that somebody mentioned that they were similarly at some point setting up themselves on a soft money and moving forward. So let's move to another wonderful pair that we would like to feature. We'll now hear from a mentee, Dr. Nicole Vargas, and mentor, Dr. Suzi Hong. Dr. Nicole Vargas is a lecturer in exercise physiology in the School of Medicine and Psychology at the Australian National University. She teaches human anatomy to undergraduate students, and she also teaches exercise physiology and elements of exercise for disease prevention and management to medical students. Dr. Nicole Vargas is also an active researcher in heat and health space, working on projects relating to reducing negative health outcomes caused by extreme heat, something that I think many of us around the world are actually faced with right now. She's a member of the Healthy Environments, and something happened to my computer. Can you see me? No.
Yes, we can see and hear you, Joanna.
Okay, here we go. I think electricity went down. Sorry. She's a member of Healthy Environments and Life, HEAL Research Network, and research affiliate and steering committee member of the University of Sydney Heat and Health Research Incubator. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Nicole Vargas.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Joanna, for that introduction. And thanks for the opportunity to speak to you all today. It's been quite the exciting and a fun year on reflection. And I just want to share a little bit of what's happened with you guys. So on being selected for the APWiL program, I was a newly appointed academic in the School of Medicine and Psychology at the ANU. And it was a really exciting, but also quite a daunting time in my career. I had chosen to leave a lab despite that it was growing kind of exponentially, because I didn't really resonate with the work environment and find it to be very positive and encouraging. And I didn't have a lot of female mentors in the space that I could look up to for advice and helping and career mentorship. At the same time, there was kind of a serendipitous job opportunity in Canberra. So I went ahead and kind of jumped at that. And it was really difficult. I felt like I was leaving behind a lot of really big opportunities to apply for larger grant funding and kind of stay in that full-time research space rather than fall into a teaching and research position, which I wasn't entirely sure if I was ready for, but I took the leap anyways. So when I joined ANU and I applied for the APWiL program, I had only been there for about 3 months, and I'm very fortunate that they chose me at that time to join the program. out of the competitive process. A highlight of the last year for me really has been being paired with my mentor, Professor Suzi Hong. Suzi and I had somewhat similar backgrounds, but despite her being at a much more advanced level in her career than I was, we both kind of found ourselves in a similar position in new academic faculties and trying to work through and figure out the path forward in our own respective places. So throughout the year, Suzi really provided an objective point of view and a lot of career advice that was profoundly helpful. She helped me to really explore what it means to get academic promotion at my new university and encouraged me to start that process early because it's going to come a lot sooner than I expect. And indeed, we talked about maybe doing it this year, but decided that next year will probably be better, put me in a better position to have a lot of the evidence that I need at the new university that I'm at. But we also had a lot of conversations that drifted into really how to manage work-life balance and the challenges with prioritizing certain opportunities when there are also a million other things that need to be completed on the side. And that was just, just general advice that was really nice to hear from someone at her stage of her career. My areas for development when entering the APWiL program really were to learn how to deal with conflict and speak confidently and stand up for myself. And on one of the first or maybe the second meeting I had with Suzi, we discussed this rather embarrassing, I feel, issue that I have at times. And that's that when I'm in highly stressful situations, one of my responses is just to cry. And it had recently occurred in like a rather important meeting with new colleagues who I was trying to impress. And it happened again when I was trying to describe the situation to Suzi. And she was just so understanding, and she helped me kind of identify ways to manage that annoying warm feeling that builds in my throat, and to recognize that it's purely just a physiological response and it's nothing to be embarrassed about, even though society tells us to hide your emotions and tuck them away and, never put them out on the table, especially in front of men. So in this kind of interaction, Suzi recommended that I kind of let people know when it's about to happen, and I give them that bit of a warning and, acknowledge that this is just what's going on and everything's okay. It's just my response when I'm a little bit stressed. And I guess speaking about the issue with Suzi, an issue which really makes me feel like less of a powerful and strong woman at times, and having Suzi respond in such an understanding manner that she did kind of made me realize that I don't have to be so embarrassed by the response. And I think kind of looking back, it's reduced the level of stress I feel towards having that response and the idea of it happening, which in turn has reduced the frequency that it happens, and that spiral thing that is a positive outcome in the end. It really was a great conversation and a lesson in vulnerability that I had with Suzi, who didn't know me, had no idea who I was. And it's an important lesson that I'll take with me kind of into stressful situations throughout my career moving forward. It was also really valuable to experience kind of that parallel between Suzi joining her new faculty in the public health and me joining the new faculty at the School of Medicine and Psychology. Despite that we're at vastly different stages in our careers, we in that space had conversations about what it means to grow as an academic and to kind of reinvent yourself, as we both worked on shifting our research focus from laboratory-based to more field-based research in some instances. And this really was a lesson for me in that shifting your research focus can happen kind of at any stage of your career. And really, we're academics, and that means that we're lifelong learners. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just kind of, sometimes we follow the opportunities and the paths that come up, and that's an okay thing too. And with a bit of strategy and, dedication involved, then you can probably grow and achieve a lot. So aside from the mentorship I received from Suzi, the APWiL program really provided great webinars throughout the years for the mentees to attend, something that our future cohort should be really excited about. Unfortunately, they didn't often align with times that I was available, but the couple that I was able to attend, I thoroughly enjoyed and learned a lot from. One of the things I loved was meeting. We kind of went into breakout rooms afterwards, and we would meet with other mentees and just have general discussions about our careers in academia, the challenges we're facing. And it was humbling, and it was amazing to talk to people across the globe, from Japan, Malaysia, North America, wherever, and discuss the fact that, you know, we're kind of all in the same boat and experiencing different situations. And so this program has instilled in me the idea of mentorship for the future. In my small faculty, sometimes feels like it lacks a bit of morale, and I want to support people by lifting them up and acknowledging the amazing work that's being done, but also being a role model for maintaining work-life balance while still being productive and working with intention in that space. I'm throwing around different ideas of how to set up a network for support in our school, especially for women and EMCRs, and have taken on the role of organizing our research seminar series to try and build community throughout the school as well. So if you can't already tell, I feel very lucky to have been chosen as a mentee for this program. I hope the future mentees have some career-defining mentorship of their own. And I'd really like to thank Kimberly, Chelsea, and the rest of the APWiL team for all you've done to make this a success. And of course, a very, very big thanks to Suzi, who I look forward to continuing our research conversations in the future and working with in the future. She's been just a wonderful mentor, and I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole. This is so rich because it's not only the academic and professional growth, but also emotional. So I really appreciate you sharing your experiences. And now we're going to turn to Dr. Suzi Hong, who is a professor and associate dean for faculty affairs and mentoring in Herbert Whiteman School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science, and also a professor of psychiatry in the School of Medicine at the University of California, San Diego. So hello from the north to the south. Dr. Hong is director of the UCSD Integrative Health Biomarker Core, and her overall areas of research and education center around mental and physical health and interferes with intervention outcomes and mechanistic investigation, which has been funded by many NIA, NIMH, NHLB. I'm not going to say all of those fabulous acronyms. Dr. Hong has been also very active participant in numerous leadership and mentoring training programs and an active in efforts and programs to actually foster that inclusive and equitable mentoring in academia. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Hong.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you for such a kind introduction. And I also wanted to acknowledge Nicole's really inspiring sharing of her story. And she had shared primarily her personal experience with us all, but she had accomplished enormous amount of work in both teaching, research, as well as service in the past year, the short time that she had been at a new institution. I know that I promised that I would actually won't speak for too long. I wanted to hear Nicole's story more. So I'll just say three things. So I recently, last week, I participated in a workshop for senior mentors called Culturally Sensitive Mentoring Workshop. And they really asked us to reflect on our own mentoring experiences and being mentored. And as I was self-reflecting, I realized, one, I've had over the years wonderful mentors, but primarily they had been men. And that kind of reminded me, one of my other mentors who had mentioned to me, who was women and now a faculty at UC San Diego, had told me that her mentors had been all previously men, and I was her first female mentor, and she really appreciated that opportunity. And I think APWiL program really offers that. And I do also highly appreciate being able to really build fellowship and as well as finding women colleagues. And I take great comfort in peer mentoring by my female colleagues. So I truly enjoy that, and that really extended to my friendship, dare I say, and mentoring relationship with Dr. Vargas, who just spoke. Secondly, I truly believe in the value of multi-directional mentorship, where it's not mentorship relationship is not mentoring down only, it's mentoring up and mentoring sideways. So I think APWiL mentoring program really offers that. And I've learned a lot from Nicole. And it's not just about my training, my mentorship skills for Nicole, but the way that Nicole kind of showed her trust, as well as the an immediate kind of friendship. I've learned a lot from Nicole, and the way she navigated her career at her new institution was very inspiring for me. Thirdly, what I would also highlight is that, as you heard from Dr. Barret, hi, Kim, she was at UC San Diego. So as she mentioned, in the very beginning, I had trepidation as well, thinking that across the ocean, different academic institution, will there be a lot of things that I could offer? And this relationship gave me an opportunity to truly think about universal issues that we all have to share, and we do share, as well as enough diversity so that really helped me to tailor and honing my mentoring skills and conversations that we had to have. So Nicole did not mention this, but Nicole actually came to the US to attend a conference, and she stopped by San Diego. So we had a nice lunch and in-person conversation, which I cherished. And we started having conversations about research collaborations into a slightly new area for me, but as exciting. And lastly, before I leave Asia Pacific, the word means a lot to me. I grew up in Seoul, South Korea, moved to the US, crossing the Pacific, and I have a brother who went to school in University of Auckland. So there you go. I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Suzi. I all for sharing. Extremely really emotional for me. One thing that it's very clear how much to have a wonderful and productive relation, it is about emotions, it is about trust, it is about feeling vulnerable and being able to share. So sometimes we think about the content, the papers, the conferences, but ultimately it is how much vulnerable we are willing to make ourselves in order to be able to share, and then and that sharing process allows us to learn from each other and take. So thank you so much. Yes, mentoring up and down and sideways and crossway and whichever way it is possible to achieve. That's exactly what we would like to do. Now it's time to actually recognize each participant in this year APWiL program, mentoring program. So we're going to show the following video, which actually highlights the mentoring pairs and shares testimonial from participants. So it's going to be a few minutes, and Glynis, our dear new colleague, gonna play the video for all of us. Thank you.
Joanna, you're muted.
You see, I forgot how to use the Zoom. So here I am, but thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, and I hope you enjoy seeing other thoughts from other participants. And I want to just give a round of applause to our third cohort of participants, and you see here the names of the third cohort, the mentors. And I think on the next slides, we have the list of mentees. It has been a fabulously diverse group, diverse in terms of the institutions, diverse in terms of experience, diverse in terms of subject matters. And not, humanities, social sciences, a lot of medical colleagues from medical professions also this year. So I would like to invite you all to share that moment of celebration and recognition in the chat if you would like to do so. But also bringing our program towards the end. You are now the alumni of the program, the mentoring program, APWiL. And we would like you to stay in touch with us and with the program. We are ready to start the fourth cohort. So soon we will be organizing again the orientation program. However, there will be always seminars, and we hope you're going to be able to join us. So there is the informal networking seminar in December. There are other opportunities to connect through via social platforms. Most importantly, Auckland, the annual president's meeting in 2024 in Auckland, New Zealand. And the fact that the meeting of the president is focusing on ocean, I think opens up opportunity for us to also think, what does it really mean for us, for our empowerment, for our connections? As a geographer, I very often say, okay, well, we're focusing on continents, but what about water? What is the meaning of that flow? What is the unexpected? Because water is so different and ocean is so different from the continents, which are much more stable in many ways. And yet the water right now is obviously so much under the threats for a variety of reasons. So we're going to be sending more and more information about the APM meeting in Auckland. But will be great if you put it on your calendar, June 23rd, 2024. The next cohort, the cohort number 4, will have 88 participants and 27 participating institutions. If you have not done your assessment, the good words are great, but we also hope that you're going to be able to share with us some of the deeper comments and thoughts, because we wanted to improve the program. I mean, one of the reason of doing this program is actually to be deeper, better, more thoughtful, addressing the particular needs of different groups. So please participate in our year assessment program, because that will be extremely valuable. And one thing that I didn't mention, but it's also in 2024, it's our International Women's Day event, that it's always so celebratory, but also thoughtful and allowing us to connect. On that note, unless there are some questions, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And again, congratulations, and hopefully to continue to be in touch with each other. And we'll see you hopefully in Auckland. So congratulations to all. And thank you so much for joining us today. And Yvonne, I don't know if there is anything. Adriana and Kimberly and Chelsea and Glynis and Dawn and David. This is a whole team spread all over different continents.
Yes,
So
we would like to thank all of them. It was a great team effort, and without all their contributions. So many
Wonderful.
thanks again. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Renata.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.